Welcome back to the CardinalSports.com recruiting chat. My name is Dave Lackford. I'm your recruiting analyst. You ask questions, I provide the answers. Let's get right into it. The first question comes from H. Collette. He asks me, I think I remember you mentioned at one point that Hood might be Louisville's top overall target. So now with Hood going to Michigan, which recruit is at the top of Louisville's board regardless of position? Also, I think the videos are the best because you are able to play their tape while talking about the recruit. Well, thank you, sir. I did ask a question to the board whether or not you'd rather me do this on video or just type out my responses. The overwhelming response was to keep the video. I don't know why you people want to look at my ugly face, but that's what you chose. The majority of you did. 2 people wanted it in writing. About 8 wanted it to stay this way, so it's staying this way. Hood refers to Jaden Hood, okay? And I said he may have been, as you said, you know. So I don't know who the top player is on the board regardless of position. I mean, if you want to look at the most important position on the field as quarterback, Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback target right now who's at the top of that board. So let's just say by default, he's at the top of the board. Other players could be linebacker Prince Collie out of Tennessee. I'm sure that they have him ranked at the top of their linebacker board right now. I spoke to Prince actually, and today I didn't get a full interview. I just kind of wanted to gauge his interest in Louisville. And so I asked Prince, I said, I just wanted to know how your relationship is with Louisville. I wanted to know who your main recruiter is. And, you know, you got a lot of big-time schools. Does Louisville really have a legit shot? And he said his main recruiter is Coach Derek Nicholson. He's the inside linebacker coach. Okay, so that makes sense. And he says, what stands out to me is the turnaround season they had when Coach Sack got there and how they brought in their players that are best to fit their system. And yes, sir, they do. They do have a legitimate shot. So I think he's at the top of their board. I think Jyre Williams is high, and he's supposed to commit on the 30th of this month, which is Sunday. I think that Darian Chestnut, a.k.a. Deuce Chestnut, out of Camden, New Jersey, is pretty high on their board. He's a 4-star cornerback, according to Rivals. I think Caleb Edwards is really high. And, of course, Ahmari Huggins Bruce is extremely high on their board as a slot receiver. He's definitely the number 1 wide receiver on the board. And I think Jordan Dingle is pretty high, the tight end out of Bowling Green here in Kentucky. So those are the guys I think that are at the top of the board. I'm sure I'm missing somebody's name because they've offered 45,000 kids this cycle. So forgive me for that one. So that's where we're at. CC with a big 3 asks, what is the strongest part of Jyre Williams' game and his weakest? He also prefers the video. So let's jump into it right now and watch Jyre's film. All right, you tell me what you think it is. Jyre is long, 6'4". He's probably like 195. He's got enough growth potential to get up to about 220. You see right here, he's coming off the edge. Not necessarily the most explosive player. He's a high hip dude, but you see him, he's able to swivel there, high point the ball, nice interception, good play. He's going to play the dog outside linebacker position, which is a guy who sets the edge. Now, you see that right there? That's called coil, all right? So right here is in the short area, and he just goes in there and blows that play up with his shoulders. All right, now a fan is going to look at that and be like, oh, my God, that's amazing, right? But as an analyst, you look at that and you say, does that translate well to the next level? For instance, is he doing that to Marshawn Ford in practice? When Marshawn comes in motion as the move tight end, is he knocking Marshawn Ford out like that? No, I would say not. Honestly, he's giving up his body. And if Marshawn gets his hands on him, Marshawn can redirect him. You want to see your outside dog guy use his hands well to do what's called block destruction. So you want to get your hands on the player first. You want to extend, lock him out, keep your outside shoulder free, and that is going to be able to redirect the play inside. But if you just come in there and make a collision and lose like that, which you're going to do most of the time in Power 5 football when you just recklessly run in there like that, unless you're like a 5-star, 240-pound, 6'3" outside linebacker who's going to Alabama and you're playing Vanderbilt, that'll work. But at the next level, that stuff don't work. But he is instinctive at setting the edge. He's a good perimeter player who's going to be able to turn runs back inside to the defense. So I think that's his strength, is out there playing on the edge. He's instinctive. He understands depth. Okay, he doesn't get too deep into the backfield where you're able to like cut it in off tackle. He times his blitz as well there. Here you're going to see, I don't know why he's so far back in trail right there. Maybe he got caught looking in the backfield. I do see him on this film looking into the backfield a little bit. He's a downhill guy, but he's not a safety anyway. He's going to be the dog linebacker for Court Dennison and Brian Brown and Louisville's defense. So I think his best attribute is definitely his length on the edge, his instincts, and he's a good sure tackler in space. So that's definitely his best attribute. I think his weakest attribute is probably, just a little raw, needs to learn how to use his hands better, to get off blocks, keep that outside shoulder free, all that good stuff. But, I mean, the kid's a good player. He's a 4-star. Me personally, and you didn't ask me this, but I'm just going to say it, I think that I would probably switch his ranking up with Ben Perry's, actually. I think I would have Ben Perry as the 4-star, and I'd have Jaire as, like a 5.7 high 3-star, because Jaire he's got the size, he's got the frame, he's got the athleticism. I'd like to see him be a little bit more explosive. I'd like to see him get a little faster, right? So that's my take on Jaire Williams. But like I said before, I expect him to pick Louisville on May 30th, as does most of the recruiting industry. All right. The next question comes from Jack H1. He says, if we miss on Sanders, which of the 4 recently offered QBs would you pursue the hardest? Well, Jack, I'll tell you what, man. If I was one of those dudes who could really break down quarterbacks and say, this is what you want, this is that, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all. I'd be working for ESPN, or I'd be on somebody's coaching staff. Very few people can actually sit there and tell you what a good quarterback's going to be. I got lucky when I was talking about Malik Cunningham. I said Malik is going to be a guy. I pointed out some things I liked about him, and they just happen to be right. I am no quarterback guru. I do not profess to be. I do not want to be. All right? So the NFL can't even get it right. They're out there drafting Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes, and they continuously do that stuff all the time. So I don't know, but here are some of the guys that they're looking for, all right? The first dude that really pops off the screen to me, in my hack opinion, and please don't say, oh, Dave, you said this kid was awesome and this kid sucked, because I didn't. I don't know. I'm not a quarterback guy, all right? But this is TJ Lewis. He's 6'4". He's out of Glenn Academy High in Brunswick, Georgia. He's very tall, very long. Kind of reminds me of a thinner Puma pass right here. You see he's hitting a wide open dude who's way behind the secondary, and the receiver still has to wait on the ball. So, that's something that I don't like. This is what I do like. Gone. The boy's fast. He's long. He's got a stride. He's got long speed. I like him as a receiver, and a lot of other schools are recruiting him as that. Louisville has offered him as a quarterback. I've confirmed that through multiple sources, that he's a quarterback. Frank Ponce thinks he can work with him. He thinks he can turn him into a guy. And, who am I to go against Frank Ponce? You saw the good job he did with every quarterback that stepped on that field last year. So, if Frank likes him, then you should like him. But again, the ball's a little behind him. He had some pressure in his face, though. But you could tell he's raw. You could tell he's the best player on the football team, back there behind center, getting to touch the ball every play for his high school. You see what he could do. I mean, the guy's just a baller. So there's a lot to like about the kid. I don't think he needs to start right away. So that's good, because he can sit behind Malik, He could sit behind Connolly. He could perhaps sit behind T. Webb. But he's a dude that's going to, be able to affect the game as a true freshman if you put him in for certain packages and with his running ability. And it's not like he can't throw the ball. And he fits what Louisville does as well, because Louisville is doing a lot of play-action stuff after they've been pounding you in the running game. And then they want to get their wide receivers to take the top off downfield and throw it up deep. So, I mean, you don't have to be Dan Marino out here. You don't have to be Joe Montana or Tom Brady, some dink and dunk pinpoint passer to thrive in the Satterfield offense. You know, you just got to be a dude who can get the ball downfield, who can sell the play action fake, and who can make plays with his feet. And I mean, you see that right there. You see that twitch, that agility right there. That looks good. I mean, the dude is slippery. So if quarterback don't work out for him, there's definitely a spot on the field for him. But again, like I said, he could be that's dangerous right there. I wouldn't even put that on my highlight reel for real. I would not have that play on my film because that's getting picked off in the Power 5 level. That's just a bad decision. But, I mean, look at this dude. He's a baller for real. Next up on the list is Jalen Henderson, all right? Jalen Henderson is from West Hills, California, all right? So, again, going after the Cali boys out there on the West Coast. There's another Cali boy, too, named Justin Lanson. We'll get to him. Jalen Henderson, for my money, this is my guy. Now, it kind of hurts to watch the Smurf turf. I hate Smurf turf, and I don't like your field, and change your field, whatever high school this is, all right? Well, anyway, watch this kid right here. He put this one first because it's a long touchdown. It doesn't really show you everything this dude can do. As a matter of fact, there we go. The kid got some velocity. You see that? He whips that thing out of there, boy. That thing went from point A to point B real fast, okay? So in my super scientifical quarterback analysis, I like quarterbacks who throw the ball and the ball gets to the receiver really fast, okay? That is a extremely scientific breakdown of the quarterback position. But look at that thing. It's a freaking laser, man. It's a tight spiral. Looks good. He's got some quickness, got some zip. He's fast. You know, you see him hit right here, taking the ball down the field. He's 6'3", right? So give me this dude. The only knock on him, you know, he's a lefty. So sometimes lefties are kind of weird. They throw a different ball. But I mean, look at that throw right there. That's Tua Tagovailoa type stuff right there. Right there, he's got good touch on it, good arc. Puts it on the guy. Doesn't have to run that far. Puts it over where only his man could catch it. Man, they got some receivers out there at Chaminade. Look at that. Yeah, this kid's a baller. I'm a big fan of his. So that's my favorite kid in here. Now, when you're saying which one should they pursue the most, it's a sliding scale. I mean, if they were going after the best player every year, you know, were they going to go up against Clemson for Trevor Lawrence type dudes every single season and try to out-recruit, you know, those schools? Nah, it's the sliding scale of, like, who fits your system, who's the best pure passer, best athlete, and which one do you actually have a shot to get? I don't know particularly how well of a shot they have to get this kid. I haven't reached out to him. They just offered him last week, and I'm not in California. I mean, that's what makes it challenging covering recruiting for Louisville. You know, you build a relationship with 3 kids over a 5-month period, and then they go somewhere else and you're back to the drawing board, you know. So the number one target, Shedeur Sanders, but this kid right here, Jalen Henderson, out of West Hills, California. He's only a 3-star. He's a damn good 3-star if you ask me, man. maybe Adam Gorney out there on the West Coast ain't had a chance to get out there and look at him. The other guy, Justin Lanson, Louisville was his first Power 5 offer. I did a story with Justin. It's right here on the front page, or it might have been dropped down. Hopefully it dropped down. Hopefully we don't have 5-day-old articles on our front page. Shout out to Connor Shea and Todd Spalding for all the hard work they've been doing lately. Anyway, it must be nice down there at the lake with spotty reception. Anyway, Justin Lamson, he's a 6'3", 200-pound pro-style quarterback out of El Dorado Hills, California. Now, Justin would take umbrage. He would not be pleased that he's called a pro-style quarterback. He called himself a dual threat. And that's, you know, what you see on film in their offense. They do a lot of RPO. They do a lot of play action. They do a lot of design quarterback runs. So Justin, look, man, Justin, no one cares that you were Sackby Player of the Year, bro. Like, does your skill translate or not? I'm going to show you how to set up your huddle video in a minute. All right, so this is him in the red zone. People knock red zone stuff, and they're like, oh, show me the long touchdown throws. No, I like red zone. How do you operate in a tight unit of the field, you know, where there's defenders all bunched up? You know, can you punch it through windows? Can you throw it over a defender when he's in good position? That right there is a nice throw. Now, Now, Justin isn't the most explosive athlete in the world. He's not the most electric. He doesn't have a lot of wiggle, but he got 1-2 and he got heart. So he makes things happen. And in Satterfield's offense, you got to be able to hit that play action bootleg and get out and roll and look downfield and also tuck that thing and run with it every now and then. And I think that, while Justin may not be the next Steve Young out here, I think that he definitely can move around and he's mobile enough to make things happen. And off, there you go. You see that play action right there? That's what Satterfield's looking for. Keeps his eyes downfield, nothing there. He's able to pull it in, make the score for the touchdown. And he's a big kid. He's a big kid. His brother plays offensive tackle for, I want to say, Cal Davis. So, his dad was a tight end for Washington State. So the dude's got football in his blood. He's a big kid. I think he's probably more of the safe option for Louisville. But I think they're going to try to hit the home run. And, if they'll stay in touch with Justin. And I'm sure they're up front. Like, look, we got these other targets. But I think Justin is probably, look at that, crafty dude. I think that he's probably the fallback to the other guys in there. So long-winded way of saying they got a good shot with Justin Lanson because, well, they're the best shot. They're the only P5 offer he has. Lucas Cooley is another kid. That's TJ Lewis, so let's get rid of that. All right, this is Lucas Cooley. He is a dual threat quarterback, 5.6 rating out of San Antonio, Texas. Lucas has offers from Arkansas. It seems like someone put a pick in. Nikki did, Sam did, and Patrick Garvin did. These are kind of old, and he's been getting new offers apparently. So I guess the newest would probably be Louisville. Looks like he only really had Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech, Washington State. He's got some offers. I heard Washington State is on him too. So Washington State might be a team to watch for Lucas Cooley as well. But Louisville jumped in the mix, and hopefully for you guys, for the fans out here, and hopefully for me, the businessman who wants them to get good players and increase my subscriber base, hopefully they're able to get in with him and make some noise and maybe get him. Now, Lucas is, how tall is he? 6'2", 197. I haven't even watched his huddle, which proclaimed, what is with the blue field? Everybody got a blue field now. Boise State. Who would think that Boise, Idaho would be such a trendsetter in the fashion world? Anyway, Lucas Cooley, let's check him out. Weird delivery right there, kind of sidearm that thing in there. And he had to take like a crow hop to get that ball down there. Dropped it in the bucket, though. And the bucket means this. And the bucket means you have the wide receiver's outside shoulder to where he has the defender, and then you have the sideline. It looks like he dropped it in a bucket right there. So you want to drop that ball in between the defender on the outside shoulder of the receiver over there, right in between the outside shoulder and the line, right? So that's what you're trying to do on the sideline, and that is dropping in the bucket. I mean, the kid looks good. All these kids look good on their highlight film. I've never seen a kid throw an interception on his highlight film, is what Mike Farrell said. That right here is what Louisville likes to do, that bootleg rollout, the play-action bootleg rollout. Again, you see some play action there. Ooh, he went to his second option right there. That was good. He's going through his reads. I like that. Here he's keeping his eyes downfield, throws up a prayer in the back of the end zone. I wouldn't put that on my highlight film personally, and I wouldn't let my kid do that because that's getting yiked. That's getting picked off in the ACC. That's getting picked off in the MAC. You know what I mean? So, but Lucas looks a little bit more raw than Henderson, but I would take Henderson out of those guys. That's a long-winded way of saying that I'm taking that dude. All right. Cardinal Cash, my guy, he says, who projects as the inside linebacker of our remaining linebacker targets on the board? Fordham Jackson. When he says projects, I think he's saying who's going to be the take. I'll tell you, Fordham can play safety. Fordham can play inside or outside. So I don't know that I wouldn't pigeonhole him. And I'll tell you what, man, I've been watching the James Jackson kid, and I want to tell you something, man. At first I was kind of I was kind of like, you know what? I don't know that I really like this kid that much. They missed on Jack Dingle. And Connor Shea is going to grind me up for saying this because he said, look, I like his film better than Dingle's. And I've been watching this kid's film, and you know what? I think I have to agree. Like, this dude flies around. He just looks like a fluid athlete. Like, look at him coming off the ball there. He timed that snap. All right, fine. That's not really the best example. But the kid plays receiver. He's smart. He's got an offer from Stanford. Stanford don't offer you until you have the grades and the ACT score. So I'm telling you right now, the kid's brilliant. All right. And it's not like some football crap either. Like, your ACT got to be like a 28. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting into Stanford with a 28 as a regular student, but most football players ain't scoring 28 on their ACT. So that kid's a smart kid. And I mean, you just see a lot of twitch in this dude. Like, look at him come off the edge right there. That looks twitchy to me. Like, he got under that offensive tackle. He's too explosive. Now, he also doesn't play the best competition out there. I get it. But what I see that translates on the fundamentals. You know, you got to pick that off, James, but that's all right. He's a linebacker. The dude's just twitchy. He brings some wood with him when he hits you. Is he like a top level SEC dude? No. But is he a guy that could come in and play for Louisville and make, you know, all ACC in his senior year, junior year? Potentially. I think so. I think he's got the twitch. I think he's got a lot of the tools you need. And smart kids usually tend to work hard as well. So I like this dude. I think he's around the same level as Jack, you know, Dingle, but it's not like if he's some sort of consolation prize. You know, he might be an equivalency of Jack Dingle. I'll say that much. So the kid looks good. He's a fluid athlete. I think that Louisville feels they're close on him, but I think that Stanford offer kind of messed things up a little bit. So, I 2 weeks ago, I would have said Jackson. Now it's taking a little longer than I expected for him to pull the trigger. Fordham, he tells me that he's going to commit. He said he wants to wait to see if things open up. And then I told him, I said, dude, I'm telling you, like, things aren't opening up for campus visits until September. And then he goes, well, I'll probably wait 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the deal is with Fordham. I don't know what's going on there. But also don't sleep on the other kid I was mentioning from Tennessee, Jolie. Prince Collie. Prince Collie is a dude that, you know, my Louisville people are saying, look, this kid is a different type of dude. He's very spiritual. He's a guy that could join the class. Just because he's got these big offers doesn't mean he's counting us out, you know. And I've heard that before, so take it for what it's worth. But what I'm hearing from sources down on South Floyd is that they're confident that they can land the kid, and that's what they're telling me. So that's what I'm telling you. I'm not out here making up stuff, all right? Who is the most likely wide receiver? Cardinal Cash also asks, who is the most likely wide receiver other than Huggins Bruce to end up in this class? Good question. I don't know, for real. Like right now, the way I see it, everything is in the Huggins Bruce bucket. That's where all the eggs are in that basket, all the balls are in that bucket, whatever expression you want to use. It's all in for Ahmari Huggins Bruce, okay? And I think they're only taking 2 receivers, so I think they've offered 40 receivers at this point. So what's going on is Brew is kind of just like playing it slow with that last spot to see what he could do, you know, if he can land another, you know, kid that would be a 4-star talent, you know, a kid that could come in, have an immediate impact, swing for the fence. And if not, they got some room to play around with that. I mean, you've got a good receiving core. And then next year, you know, you're going to have Jordan Watkins as a true freshman this year. You're going to have Christian Fitzpatrick, who they're extremely high on, coming back. And you'll have Justin Marshall coming back as well in 2021, most likely. So you got 3 receivers right there. Jordan can slide in the 2-2 spot if 2-2 goes pro. If 2-2 don't go pro, is even less of a problem at wide receiver. So I think Brews just kind of, you know, sifting through a large pot of kids and saying, all right, let's see which one really emerges. He's probably going to wait to the season, if there's a season. Hopefully there's just going to be a season. hopefully we'll be allowed to go to football fields, right? Anyway, I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to see a measured, selective approach from wide receiver coach and picking who that last spot's going to be. And that's assuming they get Ahmari Huggins Bruce. That's his one home run he's swinging for right there. Bruce is going to drop a top 8 if he hasn't already dropped it at this point, right? I'm going to check my phone because I know who the top 8 is going to include. It will include Louisville, that's for sure. So the top 8 is looking like it's going to be Virginia Tech, Louisville, University of Southern California Trojans, NC State, Texas Christian University, Baylor, Duke, and West Virginia. All right. So those are going to be the top 8. I'm not breaking down this top 8. I shouldn't even giving people that information right there for free, but that's what it's looking like. All right. Anyway, is there a time frame on Chestnut's decision, or is he waiting to visit campuses? And who would you say is our biggest competition for him? Well, Chestnut's from Camden, New Jersey. All right. I'm from Philadelphia, right? Let's put it this way. Rocky isn't going to run over that bridge and go into Camden. Camden is like Iraq, man. You stay out of Camden. If you ain't from Camden, you have no reason to go to Camden unless it's in the daytime and you're going to the aquarium. So it's hard to get in touch with Camden kids, all right? They keep a low profile. But from what I hear, Deuce is a smart kid. He's a good football player. He's listed Louisville as number 1. Adam Friedman was able to catch up with him. Adam dropped a top 5, hoop contenders, pretenders piece, and they had Louisville number 1. I think Michigan was number 2. So, check him out. It's on the board. We posted it a long time ago. That article is still there in the premium recruiting board. I don't want to give out all of our juice for free. Y'all going to have to pay for the squeeze, all right? And Cardinal Cash also prefers video because he likes looking at my ugly face. Vincent74 asks, Anthony Williams, who is a running back from Lake Brantley, Florida, who just announced that he will be committing soon. I think he said May 29th. So Anthony Williams is a running back who popped up out of nowhere. And that's what happened there. And let's look at Anthony Williams for a minute. And let's take a look at his film. All right, this is Anthony Williams, junior film. That's what you want to see. I don't know. He dropped the top, whatever. That was kind of weird. It had, like, Kentucky on it, where I know he's not a take. It had Miami on it, where I doubt he's a take. He dropped a lot of schools. I think the top 3 would be Louisville. I've been told he is a take at Louisville. He put Florida on there. I don't think he's a take there. But, they could flip him at the end if they wanted. Duke, UCF, and Louisville, I would say, are the top dudes. Now, the thing with Louisville's football with running back recruiting is kind of similar to the receiver recruiting. They're only taking 1. So they put all of their eggs in the Corey Kiner basket, and they dropped that joint, and it shattered everywhere. LSU came and snatched that whole basket, all right, made 3 cheese omelets or whatever, man. That's what happened with that. So they missed out on him. Then there was Kobe Mcdonald, who ended up going to Maryland after my source who covers that area told me there's no way he's going to Maryland, made me look dumb. But, whatever, it can't be 100% all the time. And then there was Travion Cooley, who is from Havelock, North Carolina. He was it was between Duke and Louisville, it seemed, and then Florida came in. I got word that Florida was going to be the place he goes. Matter of fact, he was supposed to commit last week. That didn't happen. Comes from an academic family. I think his mom works in education, and she I think she's pushing hard for Duke. But Florida comes calling. So I mean, they put Emmitt Smith out there. It's a good school, so who knows, man. But he didn't commit, and he's still on the board. But I don't think Cooley's going to come here, and that's why you saw an influx of new offers. Now, Anthony Williams is from Lake Brantley. I was looking up his stats on maxpreps.com. I wanted to see what he did against top-tier competition, and the answer is usually not much. he was a dude who really feasted on some other schools, though, like, some the good to bad tier teams. He killed them. Like, he would run for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So the dude is a take for Louisville. And I don't think his offensive line is the best in the world. So, you can't go on the fact that he didn't have big games against the big-time teams down there in Florida, because a lot of times if you don't have a good offensive line, there ain't much you can do. Offer that little quarterback, that boy could fly. But Anthony Williams, that's what you're looking at. He's not very – to me, he don't look super fast. He looks like more of a grind the game out type dude. He looks, he ran a 4.9 at the opening last year, but that was a year ago. And some of these kids don't really know how to run. He looks faster than 4.9 when he's running on the football field. I say that much for sure. Just a bad day on a laser. But, you see right here, he's playing out of what looks like, I don't know, it's the wing tee that they're in right there. So old school Tubby Raymond type offense right there. But he's a take for Louisville. Is he going to go to Louisville? I don't know. Honestly, this is the first. When I saw that he was committing on May 29th, that was the first I ever saw of it. But if I come on here and say, nah, he ain't coming, then he's going to commit. And then I'm going to have people all on the board like, you're always wrong. So the answer to this is, I think he's a take for Louisville. I don't know if he's committing. I had somebody that I know who knows him was supposed to reach out to him today, but apparently he's going dark on him as well. So I don't know. With the decision looming, sometimes kids go dark because they don't want the surprise to get out, which to me is whatever. Who cares? I mean, I respect the decision, as the kids say, in these streets. Kind of off topic, but how did you get into this profession? NCAA football. I love the recruiting part more than even playing the game. I started following it on ESPN first, actually. I had the ESPN Plus, I think is what it's called now. Back when you bought them, once you subscribed to the magazine, you would get insider coverage, ESPN Insider. So I'd follow all the recruiting stuff there on a national level. Then I found out about Rivals. I started following Rivals. I got on my boy Mike Langston down in Tallahassee, worked for the Florida State site, had a site called Florida Varsity. He made me the publisher of Florida Varsity. I worked that for about 2 years. I got in with Mike Singer, who used to work here at Louisville. Mike was actually the pub at Florida Varsity when I was just an analyst there when I was still in law school. And eventually I started working for the Louisville site, and it just grew like that. So I don't know. I have a winning personality. I'm able to weasel my way into places where people don't want me, I guess. And now I'm sitting here talking to you people. How long did it take to establish relationships with people in the recruiting world that you can trust what they're telling you? Oh, man, at first I would believe anything that anyone told me. I'd say it took about 5 years for sure. And then finally, I started talking to the people that I needed to talk to. And even they're wrong. Like, I trust what they're telling me, but what you guys don't understand is things change like that, man. 1 minute, I cannot stress this enough. I had a kid tell me he's committing at 7 o'clock after a virtual visit, and I have the quotes in the draft right now, and the kid just didn't commit. So it is what it is. So you can't even, I'm talking to the kid, and the kid's telling me he's going to commit. And he gives me quotes as to why he picked Louisville. And I have it in the drafts. And then the kid doesn't commit. So when you ask, how long did it take to establish relationships with the people in the recruiting world that you can trust what they're telling you? I would say there isn't anybody you could truly trust. You know what I mean? There's no absolute trust. Because I can ask the kid himself, and he'll tell me one thing 4 hours later, he does another. So it is what it is, man. It's a dirty game, man. If you're thinking about getting into this, don't. All right, it takes forever to make any kind of money. Which committed player in the 2021 class impresses you most on film? You mean committed? All right. Which committed player in the 20? You're talking about committed to Louisville, Ben Perry. All right, and I did a breakdown article on Ben Perry today. It is right here on the front page of the site. I go in depth into everything that I like about his film, things that he needs to work on, how he fits into the system. This is the piece right here. You're getting a look at it. There's his film right there. I'm not going to play it. Y'all sign up, man. It's $9.99 a month or $99.99 for a year. And you get $50 off of U of L gear if you sign up. And just use annual 50 promo code. Sign up. Help us build the site. Join this community and help me feed all my kids, man. You know, it's rough out here for a lawyer in the streets. All right. Casey Joe 2011 writes, we need running backs. You need one running back, singular, not plural. Who is the plan after all these misses with the top target? Look, man, Justin Johnson. Justin Johnson is a 4-star, right? He's got Cal, he's got Illinois, Indiana, Louisville, Michigan State, Minnesota, Purdue, Washington State, West Virginia, right? He's a good freaking player. I don't know, man. I don't know why he's not in the boat right now with all those misses, but I guess he's holding out. Maybe he's not ready to commit, you know? So I don't know, but I just want you to watch the kid's film because there's a lot to like about this kid. First of all, he's big. He's like 6'1", 200, you know? So I don't know what type of competition he's playing out there in Illinois, right? But I like the kid. I think he has good change of direction, good vision, good balance. He's crafty. Like, watch the balance here. You know, that is an athlete right there. He threw those feet down hard and gained his balance back. You know, he puts power in the ground when he runs. He's not a chump. He's a 4-star. He's a legit 4-star to me. Like, look at that change of direction right there. That's twitchy. Did you see all that quick twitch, sudden movement right there in the hole? And it wasn't like he was dancing in the hole. He was gaining ground in there, too, while he was doing that. Like, the dude can ball. I don't know. And if you look at his frame there, it looks like he can gain some weight. Like, he's just running up the middle. He's shaking dudes, using the ref. Like, he's got good sudden lateral quickness. He's straight. He's a guy. I don't know why his offer list isn't better than what it is. And, you know, I would assume Louisville would turn the heat up. I mean, look at it. He's putting dudes on their side right there. He's laying them down in the end zone. That's what you want. Dude looks like a finisher. Louisville wants home run threats, though, because here's what it is with a home run threat. Home run threat touches the ball twice in a drive. The scoreboard changes. The band plays, and they don't got to sit there looking at their laminated playbook. You know what I mean? Play calling gets dicey down there in the red zone. That's why I said I like the quarterback from California. I mean, look at him dancing right there. That dude's twitchy, man. Come on. Look at that film. But when you get down in the red zone, play calling becomes a lot harder. And you don't want to settle for 3. You know, the band don't really play when the field goal is made in the way it does when they score a touchdown. You want that band hype. You want that crowd rocking, right? So those home run guys, they're the ones that set that off. But you also need a dude who can run the ball in between the 40s, right? You know, you got to have a dude who can close games, especially if you think back to that Wake Forest game. Imagine if you had a running back who could put the ball in his hands and he milks, you know, he gets a good 5 carries for 31 yards in that time and milks 2 minutes off the clock, right? And you can move the ball. You need those closer types, and I think that's what he is. And he's versatile. He's smart. He knows how to run the screen. I like this kid. I don't know why. If I'm Louisville, I'm turning up the heat on him. Like, look, man, you're our guy. You know, we'd love to have you. You know, come on down. Let's shut this thing down. You see what we do with our offense. Look at that. I mean, that's a nice little stiff arm. He uses that stiff arm too to get a little head start there. You know, but again, not a home run guy. He doesn't have that superior long speed. But what he does have is crafty twitch where he can make guys miss. Wow, that jump cut was nasty right there. That was a nasty jump cut. I like the dude. I am passionate for once about something. This is my guy right here. All right. Look at that jump cut. Look at that vision. That's twitchy. That's nasty. Give me that dude all day. All right. I don't think the fans are excited enough about Justin Johnson. I'm excited about Justin Johnson. If he don't wind up at Louisville, I don't care. I'm still going to be a Justin Johnson fan. And when he's playing, I'm going to watch that game. How about that? My man Casey Joe says he prefers video. Cool. Of the 4 newly offered quarterbacks, oh, great, my dog's going to start barking. Of the 4 newly offered quarterbacks, who do you think is the best overall? Who do you think would be the best fit in Satterfield's offense? I already answered that. I think my man Jay Money Henderson out of Cali. Jay Hectus writes, is the staff still recruiting Carlos Del Rio? Florida just got a second quarterback commit. No, Carlos Del Rio was supposed to come on a visit back in May of 2019, never showed up. I talked to my Florida people when Jaden Kitna, John Kitna's son, committed to Florida today. I was told that Carlos isn't the type of dude who's really afraid of competition. He knew that he was going to have to come down there and compete against last year's signee, I forget who it is, and he doesn't foresee Carlos Del Rio flipping because of the new quarterback commit. So that's what I was told today. That's my information to you from my source who works for Florida. But that being said, yeah, he'll probably flip, but I don't think Louisville's recruiting him. So Shadur Sanders is the guy there. I don't think Carlos Del Rio is really being recruited by the staff right now. Could they start? Yeah, probably. But from what I was told, Carlos will stay there. But take that with a grain of salt, because who takes two quarterbacks in 2020? You tell me. With Oliver in the fold, he's talking about Braylon Oliver in the fold, and assuming we get Quinn, TJ Quinn, Terry Quinn's son, a legacy kid, who is most likely to fill the third safety spot? Good. That's from TDG Miller. Mr. Miller, thank you for paying attention and knowing that there's three safeties. That means you listen to, you read what is put on the board and comprehend it. The third spot, Caleb Edwards, maybe from Georgia. I wrote this out in that big, long, I gave him props for comprehending what I read and retaining it, but you got to read the Memorial Day rumor mill. All right. I'm not giving out my free stuff, but I need to check it real quick. Caleb Edwards, Tyler Hibbler, Jeffrey Bassa. Jeffrey Bassa goes back to, okay, so hold on. Let me tell you something. I'm going to go back up here to the first question where it said, so now with Hood going to Michigan, which recruit is at the top of the board, yada, yada, yada. I think Jeffrey Bassa is a guy that the staff really, really, really likes a whole lot. And I think that he might actually be one of the dudes at the very top of the board. They love this kid. He could play receiver. He plays outside linebacker for his school. He could play safety. I don't know where Louisville's even recruiting him. I want to say safety. I don't know. But this is a kid who I know for a fact the staff thinks, wow, this is the type of athlete that we usually don't get, right? So they love this kid a lot, and I don't want to sit here and watch him return kicks all day, and I wasn't trying to spend much longer on this, but I want you to take a look at this kid, and he's just something that the staff really wants to have on board on the defensive side. You know, I mean, the dude's returning kickoffs for touchdowns. He's in Salt Lake City. You can see the mountains in the background, so it's not like he's playing Miami Northwestern or Central or Booker T, right? So that's why I'm not really too enthusiastic about these kick returns. I'm sure he should return every kick, but he's a guy. I mean, he dominates everything he does. He's mad long. I think his 5.5 ranking is more of a product of who he plays against and not necessarily his talent as a player. So it is what it is. That's the staff's guy right there. I think they really want him as a safety prospect. Another guy they really like is Damon David, who is a 2-star. And I don't want to get into the rankings. Please don't make me talk about rankings. Look. All right. The dude who ranked him a 2-star ranked Skylar Martin, Zach Horton, and Matt Binowski, who committed to FCS James Madison University. James Madison is currently ranked 77th in the country, ahead of like Utah, all right, who people were talking about should go to the playoffs. Okay, they're ranked ahead of Oregon State, App State, Bowling Green, BYU, Utah, UCF. All right, like it's so early in the rankings process, and because there were no camps and everything got shut down, the rankings are old, man. They're just not what they are anymore. All right, those kids that committed to James Madison University all had non-committable Power 5 offers. The rankings are all jacked up right now, and I'm not saying that just for rivals. 24/7 is just bumping kids up to 4-star status without seeing them camp or anything. Just doing a deep dive into film. It's no deep dive into film. it is what it is. Film is right here. Would you just watch it? You stick your eyeball closer to the damn screen? It's ridiculous. Don't ask me about rankings, all right? Even though you didn't. I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but I did. Oh, yeah, Damon David. So my guy wants to ask me about that later. But T.G. Miller, the answer to your question is, I would say Caleb Edwards is the guy that they would take if he wanted to commit right now. Problem is, just got Notre Dame. Also, Duke is a heavy player in the game for him because he's got a strong bond with Cutcliffe. Duke, Louisville offered around the same time in 2019. Both staffs have been recruiting him hard. He's visited both schools in person. Notre Dame is the new girl in school, and she's hot, right? So I think that's going to slow everything down. I think he might go out to Notre Dame. Or you could have a Corey Kiner situation where, he takes a virtual visit and says, yeah, I can't pass that up and goes to Notre Dame. Can't be mad at the kid, but he sounds like he's really big on relationships, and he has a really good relationship with both Duke and Louisville. So I think that he's a guy the staff would take no problem just like that right now. But he's probably going to – I think he would wait longer. But – because I said that, he'll commit to Notre Dame tomorrow. So whatever. Shoot 677 says, written article every day, all day. He was one of the ones who wanted it. There was one other guy who said written article. Everybody else that said what they wanted, they preferred video. So we're watching the video. What linebackers or playmakers on offense could commit to Louisville soon? TJ Quinn committing on May 30th. I put my pick in for Louisville. I had an interview with him. It's on the front page. You can check it out. Also, Jyre Williams. He's supposed to be committing soon. Actually, I don't know when TJ Quinn's committing. He said soon. TJ Quinn is not May 30th. I'm sorry. Jyre Williams, that's May 30th. Quinn said it could be soon. He'll let me know. Okay, so it could be June. I forget. I wrote it in the article. We'll check it out. Linebackers. Fordham, Caden Fordham from Bowles School in Jacksonville. I already detailed that. And I also told you guys about James Jackson, who at one point in time, Louisville felt like they were close. Like he was in the beginning of the month, I was expecting James Jackson to commit by now, but Stanford, West Virginia, somebody else came and offered him. So I think he's slowing things up. That's probably it. Jyre is your guy. He's your linebacker. T. Will's son, as they call him around here in the 502. Those are the guys. On offense, I don't know, man. I can't call it, man. Offense has been kind of slow lately. The hold up with – and here, shoot six, I'll give you this. The hold up with Shedeur Sanders is I believe he wants to come to Louisville and visit with things going on, not just like come here and drive around the city and look at the school. I think he wants to wait for a visit, and I think they'll wait on him. Okay, so I think he has that going for him. But that's not soon, right? And Ahmari Huggins Bruce just tweeted out, I'm dropping the top, whatever I just read to you, 7, 8, I don't know. When it's more than 5, I don't care. But he said, I'm not committing. I don't have a set date, but I will be committing soon. So Ahmari Huggins Bruce could be the next one to commit, and then I can get my commitment article. I could do my film analysis and my what does it mean for Louisville article and not have to talk about him anymore. And that would be great because I'd love to move on and figure out who the next receiver is going to be. So that's what it is. They could get a tight end too. Albright is the one tight end, and then I think Jordan Dingle is going to wait a little bit longer. I don't know what's up with Albright. He's off the radar guy, so he could be committed right now while I'm doing this. Or he could wait until December. Who knows? But I think Ahmari Huggins Bruce is your answer on offense. And on defense, I think Jyre Williams is on May 30th, and I think TJ Quinn could follow that. I don't know any other dates like off the top of my head. Anthony Williams, the running back from Lake Brantley, who I just spoke about, he's the one committing on August or on May 29th. So he could be an offensive playmaker to commit to Louisville, but I don't think he's going to go to Louisville, but I could be wrong. All right. I would say I would pick UCF, honestly, but they like fast guys, and he's not really fast, but they do need to change the pace back because they just got a really fast kid from Texas. So maybe, the proverbial thunder and lightning cliche will he'll become the thunder to the kid from Texas's proverbial Lightning. Does the staff have any interest in Damon Wilson, the inside linebacker out of Kings Mountain, North Carolina? He seemed to be on the verge of committing to North Carolina about 2 months ago, but that seems to have fallen apart. Fairly highly rated on 2 other sites, and with our need for inside linebackers, seems like it would make sense. This is from Lakeboy25, who also says he prefers the video. Yeah, you know, I'll tell you, I remember this kid's name a while back, but Damian Wilson. I remember his name. I feel like he visited. I can't remember, but I do remember a lot of people putting in Chris. Look at that. He's got 100% North Carolina. Friedman, Deanna King, who was in the know. If Deanna King picked North Carolina, he was definitely about to commit to them. And Zach Berry, who kind of just jumps in after everybody else makes their pick and makes his pick. But Friedman covers that kid, and Deanna King is on top of things down there in North Carolina. She is to North Carolina high school football kind of like what I am here in Kentucky for the Kentucky kids. And so I think he was going to commit to North Carolina, but it must not have been a take. And, I mean, that happens. You know, that happened to me with the kid I was telling you about who I wrote the article for. I put the pick in for him, and he didn't come here. He was a take, too. That was just weird. Jordan Williams, the wide receiver from Georgia who recently committed to Indiana, he was telling a bunch of recruiting analysts, I'm about to do my virtual visit and commit to Louisville. And then Louisville was like, hold off for a minute. Don't commit right now. Let's just hold on for a minute, you know. So, I think it's because they were waiting for Huggins Bruce, and Williams then went on to give his pledge to Indiana. I don't know what's going on with this kid, man. Long-winded way of saying, I don't know. I remember the kid. Lake boy, you keep me on my toes. I'll give you that, brother. I have to do some investigating. I'll ask around. But the guys that I've mentioned already, the linebackers I mentioned already, they're probably higher on the priority list. But then I'll talk to my source later on at night. He'll be like, oh, no, that kid's a take. So, I mean, everybody's a take. So I'll find out. That's my answer. Lake, thanks for all your questions all the time, too. Oh, and Lake Boy's back again. Any idea on Damian David's interest level in U of L or how U of L feels about their position with him? I was told that Shadon Brown has been doing a great job recruiting him, and he's in the top 6. He is a 5.42 star with this offer list: Arkansas, Boston College, Indiana, Louisville, Miami, Michigan State, NC State, Oklahoma, Syracuse, Temple, Wake Forest. His top 6 is, off the top of my head, was Boston College, Louisville, Miami, Oklahoma State, and somebody else. I don't know. Apparently, Ed Reed watched his tape and told Miami that they should offer him. Ed Reed watched the tape. Oh, cool, man. Awesome. Apparently, Rivals isn't working. Ed Reed watched this kid's tape and then talked to Miami and said, yo, offer this kid. And they offered the kid. So you tell me, man, what's going on here? I don't know. It's rough out there. It's hard times out there in the DMV. It's hard to get them stars out there in the DMV. That's all I know. How do we get them stars is a joke that the national guys throw around a lot. It's a DM we typically get when a kid feels underappreciated. Say, what I got to do to get them stars? Speaking of getting them stars, subscribe to my channel and like this. How about that? How do I get them stars? Give me some ratings. Give me some love, man. Lakeboy25, again. Lakeboy, I'm going to have to start limiting you to like 2 questions, man. He says, is Louisville still recruiting Taquan Johnson out of Ocoee? Good question. I did put him on the hot board. He says, haven't heard his name in a while, and I know in past offensive hot board articles you said U of L was hot on him and that Johnson really liked Louisville, even possibly in line for a commitment if they push hard. Yeah, well, the hot board is a one-way temperature. While the kid might be hot on Louisville might not necessarily have the same feelings temperature-wise, okay? So he was hot on Louisville. I thought he'd be a take. Looked like a good player to me, but I think he's one of those ones that fall into the other category, and they're trying to they're trying to like work some things out before they take that second spot. Namely, getting Ahmari Huggins Bruce on board. Because once you got him on board, then you know what you got the slot, and then you can start really focusing on that X or that Z receiver, right? So that's what that is. I think the answer to that is they're still recruiting him, but I'd say that communication's falling off a little bit and a little on the back burner now. All right. Taylord11 asks, do you have an understanding of how this staff evaluates and rates players? It definitely ain't through rivals. What qualities are most highly weighted? They want long guys. Right now, they want long, twitchy dudes who can bend and have position versatility. Those are the things they want from their linemen, their offensive, and they want that from their offensive linemen. They want that from their linebackers. They want that from their safeties. For the safeties and corners, they want twitch and change of direction, all right? And for their safeties, they want length right now. Louisville is way too small on the defensive side of the board. There's not a lot of length over there. They want length. They want position versatility so that they can move players around in the formation without having a sub. They want guys that are twitchy, and they want guys that are flexible who can bend, because when you're stiff, you're more injury prone. When you're flexible, you have more durability, okay? And you can do more things, all right? So that's what they want, and that's what they're looking for. That's, to me, I think those are the attributes that they put at the top of their evaluation. At least that's what I get when I talk to people, all right? I feel like I'm sensing some underlying traits, themes with this class. Hopefully you agree with what I just said, and those are the underlying traits and themes. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Taylor also says, it could be Taylor D11 or Taylord 11. I don't know. You guys got to start spacing. You can put spaces in your name. Like it's not an email address, guys. And if you're gonna sign up for Louisville, you can space out your name. See right there, like Dave Lackford. There's a space in between Dave and Lackford. You guys can do that. It doesn't have to be an underscore or Cardinal Cash. There we go. Just be a normal dude, man. What are you doing? Verge the Word says, it looks like we are recruiting A.J. Green as a running back. That's true. Arkansas seems to lead for him, and they are recruiting him as a cornerback. Is this an advantage or a disadvantage for us? Verge the Word. I'll tell you this. If he wants to play running back more than he wants to play cornerback, that's an advantage for Louisville. But I don't know. I have to talk to him. They just offered him, so I'm not trying to clown you, but, I mean, that's just the best I can do right now. Florida Card is one of the guys who prefers written. Florida Card, I think I remember him. Thanks for the feedback. You guys are going to make me have to transcribe this whole thing. I could tell, but I'm not doing that because I don't get paid enough. Tell Jeff to pay me more, and I'll transcribe this whole long-winded monstrosity. Card for Life 32 says, he'd prefer video. Do you foresee a lot of kids announcing in June? Yeah, I do. He goes on. Seems like Fordham, Quinn, Huggins, Bruce, and some others are close to announcing. Yeah, I think those dudes are June guys for sure. I think that's when they pop. I think you'll see a few offensive linemen start to come off the board. I haven't been focusing on the offensive line recruiting recently because they've been missing on dudes. I'm not missing them, but maybe cooler on dudes. So Austin Barber, he goes to Trinity Christian down in Florida, right? So, or Trinity Catholic, one of those things. And I'm talking to him, and I wrote I'm writing an article based on information that he gave me the day before, right? So I'm spacing out my article so I don't put everything on the page on one day, and then there's no new content for 3 days, right? So I'm writing the article from the information I got, and then I get an alert on my phone, and I look, and the kid just committed to Minnesota. and I asked him, when are you going to pop? And he was like, I'll let you know. I'll keep you up to date. That's how he kept me up to date. He tweeted it. So, yeah, there's going to be some surprise commits in June. I would assume they're going to come from the offensive line side of things. And who knows, you could get your running back, you might get one of those other linebackers too. James Jackson is a name I'd watch for a June commit as well. Prince Collie didn't tell me wouldn't tell me when he was going to commit. So that could be another name to watch. I mean, there's so many kids out there. Damon David could be a kid that commits. One of those quarterbacks might pop. Yeah, man, I do foresee some June commits. I think Louisville prefers to have the majority, the bulk of their recruiting classes committed by July. I mean, that's what they did last year because I think they want to focus on the season. You know, Satterfield's an X and O's coach, and he does a lot of scheming, and I think he puts his staff under a lot of pressure. Plus, they're going to have to make up for lost time once they're back on campus. So, you know, I think they want to get this wrapped up sooner rather than later. But this year is going to be a little bit different because they're not going to have kids on camp that they've been able to stick underneath a tape measure or put on a scale. So things might get a little dicey. So we'll revisit this conversation in about a month for sure. Bill Underwood, 2020 says, do you think if some of these higher rated kids wait till the season starts and we are impressive in games, ... do you think that sways recruits, or do you think performance and overall success is meaningful to a recruit? With Louisville, I think it is, because I think that there's a small sample size as to what Louisville is under Satterfield since he's a new coach. And they came off that 2-10 season. So I do think that if they can build off of last year's success, I think that they can kind of sway some kids and get excited about joining the program. So in general, my answer to your question would be no. I don't think that kids kind of like look at success on the field as a big thing, you know, because a lot of times a kid is going to a school because it's the fit for them and they get on the field early and then get to the league, or they're committing to a team that's already good, or they're trying to turn a team around. But if Louisville is wins 10 games, all of a sudden they're not a middle-of-the-road team. They're a team that's on the verge of jumping up to Pantheon. So I do think it would be meaningful to recruiting if Louisville is able to win. Yes. And then Bill Underwood, 2020, also asks, and Bill joined on April 16th, 2020. So thanks for signing up, Bill. We appreciate you. We love our old friends, but we like our new friends even better. So Bill also says, I would much prefer a video, but I know YouTube is available to everyone. All right. And he also says, you should get paid for this because I know you spend a lot of time on that stuff. And this card fan appreciates it. And I appreciate you too, Bill. And I'll send you my Cash App later. Just hit my DMs there. Private message me on the site, man. we'll make sure I get paid. And then he says, maybe there's a way to do these podcasts only for premium users. The reason I do this podcast for free is because I kind of give out information that's old. You know, I'm not giving away all the information on the board. I'm giving people a very small keyhole size view of what's behind the door. So I want people to stick their card in the keyhole and pay for what's behind that door. And this is just kind of an advertising type of thing I'm doing here, because the information that you're getting here is nothing compared to what I write on the board. I mean, look at this piece that I wrote here. And thank you so much, Bill, for setting me up for this with this softball pitch for me to sell subscriptions to the site. Now, this is what I did on Memorial Day when everybody was out drinking and at the pool and violating social distancing orders and all that stuff. I was secluded in my crib writing. This is 1,800 words, and this isn't even everybody in the class. Like, that's a lot. Look, I'm breaking down what we know on defense, offense, linebackers, corners, safeties. There's a million names in there that I didn't even mention on here. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line. Like, I'm giving out all this information on this, and this doesn't even scratch the surface as to what's on the board. You understand? So that's why I do this for free, because I want to engage everybody out there that isn't a subscriber to come and subscribe so we can grow this site, we can build this site, and we can hire good journalists who may be furloughed right now from somewhere else and give them a home. And then, you know, they could be covering the games and giving you all this content that you want here in one place. All right. So you don't have to run around and look all over the place for different information. But if you're a fan of Louisville football recruiting, and you're not subscribing to cardinalsports.com, then, you know, I don't know what you're doing. If you got the money, I mean, if you can't afford it, I get it. It's hard. I struggled for a long time. I lived in poverty for a minute, you know, but if you got the money and you're a fan of this, it's $10 a month. It's $100 a year, and you get $50 off. So you could buy, you know, a fresh Louisville hoodie or a hat or something, and then the rest of the money is for the site. So, you know, but it is what it is. Thanks, everybody, for watching this. If you're not signed up, sign up, okay? Click the link that's on the front page. The promo is annual 50. You sign up for a year at $99.99, and you get $50 worth of gear. So you're getting a subscription for a year, half off, and you're getting a free hoodie, some free Adidas track pants, some socks. I don't know. You could get a watch. You could get a skateboard. I don't know. Whatever's on there, you can get it. Plus, you get all my inside recruiting info. So thanks for watching. See you guys again next week.